I think God wants us to get angry. The world is unfair, divided between the haves and the have-nots. And the fact that you're watching this probably means that you, like me, are one of the haves. This is my daughter, Grace. She's healthy, happy, looked after by doting parents, and has nothing but a bright future ahead of her. She will grow up in a secure environment in which she knows she is valued and loved. This is Josephine. Her mother died needlessly in childbirth, too poor to even get the most basic hospital treatment. Josephine's alone, without a family to love her, to bring her up, to nurture her. Her future is absolutely uncertain. She cries a lot. There are many, many Josephines out there. I once went to help out a bunch of street kids. It was the scariest time of my life. These kids were not cute or sweet. They'd been raped and abused and forced to become hardened, violent survivors. And I went to help them, but they attacked me. And I had to run to seek protection at the nearest police station. That night I sat down with my team to process the whole experience, and I just wept. I wept for these hardened little lives. And then my team leader came alongside me and he said something that really has powerfully impacted my life. He said, "Pity cries and then goes away, but compassion stays." Enough pity, indeed enough charity. Charity throws pennies into the beggar's hat, but solidarity uproots systems that keep him poor. Charity assumes a position of inequality, reaching down, but solidarity meets people at eye level, dignifying, empowering, sharing the burden. If you're not an ally, you're a foe. You cannot be an ally until it affects you, gets under your skin, taints your mind until you get angry. So, what makes you mad? Are you infuriated about the thousands of women in the Congo who are serially, systematically raped and then shot in the vagina as a weapon of war? Does it make you angry knowing that children are kidnapped from their home to become child soldiers and sent into battle as cannon fodder? Or when young girls are trafficked as sex slaves, locked up in dark rooms for exploitative older men? Aren't you furious about the lady left in labour at the hospital door who dies because she can't afford the $5 entrance fee? Or the outcast AIDS victim lying in his urine, stripped of dignity, an embarrassment to his community? Nothing to do with me, I hear you cry. Nothing to do with me, I hear you say. Except that evil prospers when the righteous do nothing. The status quo of this world is oppressive, racist, and unequal. When we do nothing, we simply let evil flow in its natural course. As Christians, we need to engage with the big issues.
As Christians, it's our duty to be informed to matters of injustice. Consider these few issues of global injustice. In 1948, Africa's share of global trade was about 5%. By 2002, it had fallen to about 2%. Experts tell us that if we could regain just 1% of global trade, we could earn $70 billion more in export each year. That's almost 6 times what we receive in foreign aid. We could look at education as well. It would cost $6 billion to provide basic education to the entire world. And yet, $8 billion is spent each year on cosmetics in the United States alone. We could install water and sanitation with the money that Europe spends on ice cream each year. Annual health care and nutrition would cost $13 billion. But $17 billion is spent each year in Europe and America on pet food. And these are just a few of the issues. The list goes on and on.
These are matters of injustice, preventing those at the bottom of the pile from selling their products while we in the civilized world sing the virtues of the free market is both outrageous and unjust. Preventing the release of key life-saving medicines in deference to the Office of Patents is unjust. Holding children ransom for the debts of their grandparents is unjust. And yes, these are extremely complex issues, but how dare our governments constantly claim the moral high ground? You see, sometimes people have so little because a few people have so much. And being a voice for the voiceless, an advocate for the powerless, a liberator of the captives, it will cost you. It will cost you time, it will cost you energy, it will cost you money, it will cost you your life. But you see, with privilege comes responsibility. And as Jesus said, to those who've been given much, much will be required. So whether it's poverty, sexism, racism, human trafficking, debt bondage, domestic violence, there are plenty of battles worth fighting. But it's time to stop pounding fists on coffee shop tables. Anger is for outside the coffee shops, away from the low-fat lattes. So pick a fight. Let the cries of humanity resonate in your spirit and rattle your conscience. Don't be that somebody who forgets or ignores or just talks. For God's sake, do something.